Season 2, Episode 1 of The Serpent Queen opens in 1572 with 5 of Catherine de Medici's adult children riding in a carriage during what is known as the Grand Tour. They are introduced to the populace as King Charles IX, Alexandre Edouard de Valois, Duke of Anjou, Prince Hercule, and the 2 princesses, Margot and Elizabeth. As the season progresses, I will be doing videos based on documented history that focus on interesting aspects of each of Catherine de Medici's children's lives. This way we can see just how much creative license the show takes when it comes to historical accuracy, and how much they leave out when it comes to the royal storyline. But for now, I will briefly introduce each of the 5 children, starting with Margot, the one who I think is the most interesting of the Serpent Queen's children. In 1572, at age 19, Margot, also known as Margaret of Valois, was forced into a political marriage to Henry of Navarre, the future Henry IV of France, as a symbol of reconciliation between Catholics and Protestants. Despite the political importance of her union, Margot found little satisfaction in her marriage and sought comfort in the arms of various lovers. I will be doing a full video on The Curse of Queen Margot, so be sure to watch out for that. One of her most notorious affairs was with Louis de Bussy d'Amboise, a dashing courtier known for his bravery and charm. Their relationship was not only a betrayal of her marital vows but also embroiled Margot in a bizarre love triangle involving her youngest brother Francis, Duke of Alençon, aka Hercule in the Serpent Queen show. The court buzzed with rumors of their illicit encounters, and the scandal threatened to undermine the delicate political balance that Margot's marriage was meant to maintain. But de Bussy was far from Margot's only paramour. She was also linked to Jacques du Harlay, Lord of Chauvelin, a relationship that would have far-reaching consequences. Rumors swirled that Margot had given birth to du Harlay's child, a scandalous allegation that reached the ears of her brother, King Henry III, known as Anjou in the Serpent Queen series, and who became king when their brother King Charles IX died. Furious at the potential dynastic implications, Henry had Margot detained and questioned in an abbey, subjecting her to humiliation and further straining family ties. The year 1576 marked another low point in Margot's tumultuous life at court. That same brother, King Henry III, publicly accused her of having improper relations with a lady-in-waiting. This accusation led to a heated confrontation that Margot later recounted in her memoirs. According to her account, the situation escalated to the point where Henry would have killed her if their mother, Catherine de Medici, hadn't intervened. This incident not only highlighted the volatile nature of royal family dynamics, but also showcased Margot's resilience in the face of adversity. As if her personal scandals weren't enough to shock the court, Margot's political maneuvers were equally audacious. In the early years of her marriage, she initially supported her husband Henry of Navarre against her own family, denying her mother's dictate to have the marriage annulled. However, this allegiance was not to last. In 1582, Margot returned to the French court without her husband and resumed her scandalous behavior, taking on new lovers and flouting social conventions. This brazen conduct led to increasing conflicts with her brother, King Henry III, who, if you haven't already figured out, seems to have a deep-seated hatred for his sister. The year 1585 marked a turning point in Margot's life, as she took an unprecedented step for a queen of her time. Fleeing the Kingdom of Navarre, after allegedly attempting to poison her husband and even shooting at him with a pistol, though missing, Margot effectively rebelled against both her husband and her brother the king. She escaped to her property in Agen, where she aligned herself with the Catholic League, a powerful faction opposed to her family's policies. In a move that stunned her contemporaries, Margot masterminded a coup d'état when she seized power over Agen. The Queen of Navarre spent several months fortifying the city and recruiting troops, even sending them to assault neighboring cities. This military adventure was unheard of for a woman of her status and flew in the face of all societal expectations for a royal consort. However, Margot's rule in Agen was short-lived. Tired of her demands and the chaos that ensued, the citizens of Agen revolted and allied themselves with the forces of Henry III. Faced with the arrival of royal troops, Margot was forced to flee precipitously, Refusing her mother's pleas to retreat to a royal manor, she instead took refuge in the fortress of Caerlatt with her alleged lover, a man who she appointed captain of her guards. Margot's defiant stance ultimately led to her forced exile and imprisonment at the castle of Uzan in Auvergne, a period that would last for 2 decades. The fall from grace was complete, and Margot faced an uncertain future as a royal prisoner. Yet, even in captivity, Margot's story took unexpected turns. In early 1587, her fortunes changed when her jailer switched allegiances from the royal side to the Catholic League. Whether through seduction, as court rumors suggested, or more likely through bribery, Margot secured her release. Characteristically, even as she regained her freedom, Margot chose to remain at the castle of Uzan, where she embarked on perhaps her most scandalous endeavor yet: writing her memoirs. In an age when women, let alone royal women, were not expected to share their personal experiences so openly, Margot's decision to pen her life story was revolutionary. The memoirs were not only a literary achievement but also a final act of defiance against the societal norms that had sought to constrain her throughout her life. If you would like to read Margot's memoirs for free, I left a link in the community tab of my channel. The second most interesting character in the show is, in my opinion, Anjou. It's easy to get confused when researching Catherine de Medici's children because there is a lot of name swapping going on. In the historical records, the epithet of Anjou was assigned to both Francis, Duke of Anjou, Hercule in the show, and Alexandre Edouard de Valois, Duke of Anjou, referenced most often as simply Anjou in the show. But then again, he was also addressed as Hercule by Charles while in the carriage on the Grand Tour in episode 1. Confusing, right? Well, let me make it even more so by adding that Anjou is the very person mentioned earlier in this video. On February 14, 1575, Anjou was crowned king after the death of Charles IX. He is none other than the same Henry III that was so mean to his sister Margot. I'll be referencing him here as Henry. An interesting aspect of Henry III of France is that he was known as the delight of the world during his reign from 1574 to 1589, due to his cultivated tastes, good intellect, charming manner, and gift for oratory. He was also known for his intellectual pursuits and patronage of the arts. He surrounded himself with a group of young noblemen, known as the minions, who shared his interests in literature, music, and fashion. This circle of favorites, plus the fact that Henry had a very effeminate bent, led to widespread rumors and accusations of homosexual relationships between Henry III and his minions during his lifetime. Contemporary chroniclers like Pierre de Listwel described the minions negatively, noting their extravagant effeminacy, quarrelsome habits, and loose morals. The author's writings contain some of the most extensive and graphic depictions of alleged homosexuality at Henry's court from that time. Henry's charm and ingratiating manner were notable aspects of his personality. He possessed a gift for oratory and was known for his ability to captivate audiences with his speeches. Henry III of France had an unrequited love for Marie of Cleves, who was married to Henry of Bourbon, Prince of Condé. Known for her beauty, Marie caught the eye of the young Henry, then Duke of Anjou, before he ascended to the throne in 1574. Upon becoming King of France, Henry III planned to obtain an annulment of Marie's marriage and marry her himself, but Marie died before he could implement this plan, so he turned to Louise of Lorraine, who he married on February 15, 1575, shortly after his coronation. It was well known that he chose Louise of Lorraine because she reminded him of Marie of Cleves. Many of his contemporaries were surprised due to her modest background. Louise was known for her quiet personality, but she adapted well to her role and was popular with her mother-in-law Catherine de Medici. Tragically, Henry's reign ended in assassination by a Catholic zealot in 1589, thereby bringing an end to the Valois dynasty, which had ruled France for over 2.5 centuries. His assassination fulfilled part of the prophecy reportedly made by Nostradamus to Catherine de Medici years earlier. On his deathbed, Henry named the Protestant Henry of Navarre, yes, that's his sister's ex-husband, as his heir, ushering in a new era under the Bourbons. The second season of the Serpent Queens series brings us inside Catherine de Medici's relationship with her children, including Charles IX, a boy king with poor physical health and mental instability. Part 2 of this series on Catherine de Medici's children explores just how unstable Charles was and what that meant for what became known during his reign as the Age of Catherine de Medici. Catch it right here.